Hello, welcome back to MLB DFS Slate Breakdown for Friday, April 4th. We got a nice slate on our hands. We do have all day baseball, but we will be focusing on the main slate tonight. I'm your host, Tyler Wiemann. Now, come join us at LineStar. If you haven't already, go to the App Store, iOS or Android App Store. Download LineStar app, and you can get a 7 free day trial if you've never used us before. Try us out. Tell us what you think, and let's dive into this slate today. So we normally do the review. However, today we are going to skip the review simply because yesterday we didn't really have a main slate. You know, it was not much baseball going on. Only had like 5 games all day, and therefore we're going to skip the review, jump right into the pitchers. Highest owned pitcher on the slate, Spencer Swellenbach, 39%. He's 10.6K. He is pricey, but he showed some major upside last week. Facing the Padres, went only allowed one. Well, didn't allow a run. The Braves lost. Was very good. His K rate was down, but the Padres don't strike out that much. And he does have a 25.5% K rate on the last 20 starts. So I'm not too worried about the K rate, especially in a spot where the Marlins are striking out at 25% in the last 150 games and 27% in the last 20 games. Combined K rate at 23.2 is a little low for 10.6K, but I do like the upside here. He's efficient. He can work deep into games. And I don't mind some chalky Swellenbach here. Pitcher today is a little rough, and he is one of the few that I think we can kind of count on here. Next, we got Yamamoto, 10.4K, 22% owned. It is some of the better hitting weather on the slate, though. It's not great hitting weather, pretty average, mid-60s, wind not really doing too much. But it is versus a good offense too. Now Yamamoto's solid pitcher, solid K upside, 27% K rate over the last 20 games, and 26.1% combined K rate right here. So it's an interesting spot, but there are some warning signs with Yamamoto so far this year. In his pitcher StatCast data, 37% hard hit rate. Now, he's not allowing many barrel balls, but that hard hit rate is up there and a little scary versus a team like the Phillies that hit the ball very, very hard. So I like Yamamoto. Fine playing a little bit of him, but I would prefer Swellenbach. I think Swellenbach has a little more upside. I think he also has a higher floor, so I would rather Swellenbach, but I'm fine playing a little bit of Yamamoto as well, just for a little bit of ownership difference. Next, we got Brandon Paft, 7.8K, 20% owned. And you know what? I'm going to get over to DK because that's where I liked the pitchers. We'll keep talking about Path because we were, but he is 14% owned over here and 7,200, so he's super cheap, a little different. But Brandon Path, the issue with him, he has some upside. He does have upside, but he hasn't shown consistency in his young career yet. And these Washington Nationals can hit the ball a little bit. They have some sneaky upside. I don't mind some Nats stacks. Don't love Path in this spot. I'm fine playing a little bit if you want. Nick Martinez, 7,100, 15% owned. I am kind of interested in Nick Martinez here. Look, 3.49 FIP over his last 20 starts. 2.54 over his last 5 starts. He ended the year just on a great streak and started, not great, but not horrific. 21.9% K rate. Hard hit is low. His ground ball rate is a little low. Fly ball rate a little high, but I think it's okay in this situation here versus the Brewers. They're an okay offense, but I love how cheap Nick Martinez is, and he has been spectacular versus the Brewers. 66 plate attempts, 172 average, 109 ISO, 24% K rate. I think there's some sneaky upside. We got a combined K rate at 23.9% for a 7,100 guy. It's pretty interesting to me. I'm fine with some Nick Martinez. One thing I do want to point out is most of those at bats, those plate attempts in the BVP data was one start last year where he went 7 innings, no earned runs, 7 Ks. So that is a little worrisome here, but he has upside. So I'm not too worried about that. But I think Martinez is an interesting play. Next, we got Tyler Mahle, 7K, 15% owned. Not a spot I really love right now. Mahle was terrible with his control in his first time out. Was letting a lot of line drives, a little bit of hard contact, let a barreled ball go in 1.2 innings. There is some upside here. We know he has upside. But he's missed a lot of baseball and he was super rusty last time out. Might wait for him to show it a little bit before I jump back on there, or at least showing some more command. All right, other pivots, Gavin Williams, 7.9K versus the Angels. Now, he doesn't have a very high K rate. It is almost 23%, but the Angels do strike out a lot. 24.9% K rate over the last 150 games. So far this year, they've been more league average with strikeouts, but I think there is some sneaky upside here in Gavin Williams at 7.9K, and pitching isn't all that great. So I think there is a good chance that we can just maybe get one higher price pitcher and then a pay down spot and go that way, or just 2 pay down spots and get all the bats we want. Next, Max Meyer, 7.4K versus the Atlanta Braves. Look, everybody knows Braves have been all sorts of a mess. The last lineup they put out was like a AAA lineup. They rested a bunch of guys. Maybe that gets them right again. Maybe it doesn't. But I do think they're a little interesting to attack in this spot with Max Meyer. He came out versus Pittsburgh, 5.2 innings, 7 Ks, 1 earned run. He has some new pitches. He's been a big-time prospect for years now, and hopefully we get to see that this season. Miami's been very good with bringing up their pitchers and making them, quality guys. And so I'm very interested in Max Meyer in this spot. Think it's an interesting one. He's going way too low owned for his price and his upside. We have met a 22.2% combined K rate at 7,400. It's an interesting spot. I actually would say he's to the higher side of that with the new pitches, his whip percentage, all that. I think he's going to get more strikeouts than what we've seen so far from his short career. His 20% K rate, I think, is just low. I think that's going to be more up to 22, 23, something like that. And I like some sneaky upside from him. Getting back over to FanDuel real quick. It's pretty much the same thing over here. I do think Gavin Williams is an interesting pivot, as well as Nick Martinez or Max Meyer. Now, the thing here is their price is much more similar to the studs here. I think Swellenbach clearly is the top pitcher on this slate, but there are several guys you can pivot to get different that are a little interesting. So let's get over to stacks now before we can round this out. 7-game slate, a lot of cool temperatures, a lot of wind blowing in, and then also a few dome spots. But let's start with the highest owned Atlanta Braves. I've already said I like leverage Max Meyer. I'm interested in Max Meyer. I don't really like the Braves. I don't want to jump on how poorly they've been playing. Now, I'm fine getting a little bit of them. I think they can play some small ball, manufacture some runs, move some runners over, and get some runs. I'm okay with a little bit of them as, a cheap secondary stack, but I do think they're going over-owned. Almost 80% for an offense that hasn't really shown anything is a lot for me. Dodgers are also popping up, and then Arizona. I think Arizona is a very interesting team today, and I don't mind having some of them. Bats have been playing a little bit, so fine going there. Our highest projected stack, it's the Dodgers versus Jesus Luzardo. Now, Luzardo is a very good pitcher, not one I like to really go against, but he can let a few long balls go. And Dodgers, if you make a mistake, they will make you pay. So I can see why you want some Dodgers here. Now, let's get over to the value stacks, and that is Miami versus Spencer Swollenbach. Miami has shown a little upside here, but personally, I cannot go there versus Swollenbach. Yes, they got some very cheap hitters that you can throw out there for a very cheap stack, but I just think the upside is not there in this spot, and I'm not going to be really going there. So let's get over to our highest ceiling, and we got Dodgers. No surprise there. Highest leverage stack, we got Philadelphia versus Yamamoto. Now, I think this is interesting. One of the things that we saw with Yamamoto is over the last 5 starts, he has a FIP of almost 4, but the ERA is 2.1. That shows some regression. Now, over the last 20 starts, 3.07 FIP and 2.9 ERA. So he is a very good pitcher. But there could be some short-term regression coming through. Philadelphia is a team that can hit the ball really hard and make some runs happen, and Yamamoto has given up some hard contact to start this year. Angels popping up versus Gavin Williams. They are a little bit of a sneaky offense. I don't mind playing both sides, having some Angels stack in some lineups and having some Gavin Williams. Gavin Williams is an interesting play for me. But also Angels. Texas versus Zach Littell. Now, this isn't really interesting. Littell, 4.22 FIP over his last 20 starts, but only 1.63 over the last 5. So he has been very good in this short term, but which is the real guy? Is it 1.63 amazing pitcher, or is it the MLB kind of like average 4.22 guy? I think Texas Bats has a lot of talent, and they are an interesting low-owned stack today. Highest FIP, Max Meyer. I wouldn't look too much into that, as he's got some new pitches and, some new stuff he's working with. Click on the teams tab. Just make sure we didn't miss anything. Arizona, 5. Milwaukee, 5. Texas, 5. Baltimore, 4.8. Baltimore isn't an interesting spot. It does look like Gunnar Henderson is back, but Seth Lugo is a very good pitcher, very good at limiting runs. It's very rare for him to get blown up. So while we do have a 4.8 implied total here, it's not a stack that I really love. I'm more so in the avoid that game standpoint, as I don't really want to use Lugo because Baltimore's very good offensively, but I don't want Baltimore because Lugo limits runs and Baltimore is an expensive stack. Cleveland versus Jose Soriano. For the bullpen alone, I am interested in Cleveland. This Angels bullpen has been terrible so far. Washington bullpen has been terrible so far. And Milwaukee's bullpen has been very bad. So those are some spots we can jump on and hope for the bullpen to really get blown up. I think it's an interesting slate. A lot of different ways you can go. Let's have a good one, guys. It's been a good start to this MLB season. We'll be back next week with more. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace!